to Gen Z on Leadership. My name is Gabe Gary, and today we have with us Chief McIntyre. He is the Valparaiso Police Department Chief of Police. He has been working with the VPD for almost 15 years. He was named Officer of the Year in 2011 and Investigator of the Year in 2019 and 2020. He achieved his bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Indiana University. He also graduated from the Center for Public Safety School of Police Staff and Command at Northwestern University. Thank you for being here with us today, Chief McIntyre.
Hey, thanks for having me. My pleasure's all mine. I'm, excited to meet you for the first time, Gabe. I think what you're doing is outstanding, and I think you're years ahead of yourself with this stuff. So congratulations to you. This is awesome.
Thank you. All right, so let's just get started with the first question. How did you get interested in the law enforcement field?
Yeah, great question. So my grandfather was actually the chief of police for LaPorte City Police Department. I had other family members that were in law enforcement growing up. My cousin was married to the elected sheriff in LaPorte County. I had another cousin that is currently a captain for LaPorte County Sheriff's Department. So I kind of grew up in a law enforcement family. I got to do ride-alongs, with my cousin's husband and my other cousin at the Sheriff's Department in LaPorte growing up in high school, even in college. So I got a good taste of law enforcement growing up in the law enforcement family. I've known for a long time that, police work is what I wanted to do. I studied criminal justice in college and just continued from there. So just growing up in a law enforcement family, really is what got me interested in this. And yeah, just continued with my dreams, and, here I am today, and each day has been, amazing. This is a great profession to get into, and I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. What are you in charge of, and what tasks, what does an average day look like as chief of police?
Yeah, great question. So a lot of what I do now is at administrative level, supervisory level.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of things with, technical duties, and a lot to do with our budget, research, planning. I have direct control over all the divisions in the police department. So I have to have working knowledge of what's going on in the police department, what services we need to provide to our officers. I need to be kept up on daily activities. Investigations are going on at the police department, really making decisions that are in the best interest for the department. We prepare statistics every year. We compile reviews. We research trends and what's going on. We compile statistics, each year at the end for the whole department. Look for alternative, funding and sources, programs, different equipment that we can bring into the department, that type of thing. But most of it's at an administrative level. I got a great team. My administrative team consists of an assistant chief and 3 captains. So we have a captain of patrol, captain of investigations, and captain of support services. So we all really work together, to keep this place running smoothly. But a lot of what I do now is administrative tasks.
Yeah. How does being the chief compare to being in investigations and just your cop in general?
Yeah, great question. So, obviously started my career in patrol. So in patrol, you're running calls for service. You're, patrolling. You are, traffic enforcement, that type of thing. You're out helping the community. You're being visible to the public. So that's kind of those duties for investigations. I was a detective for several years and oversaw the detective bureau as a captain for a while. And as an investigator, it's pretty cool because you're not actively responding to calls unless you are getting called out for, a situation, whatever the investigation may be. But investigations is kind of cool because you never know how an investigation is going to turn, so figuring those out is pretty interesting. A lot of times that you'll think you have a good understanding of something, and there'll be a twist in it to really, keep you on your toes and keep you going. But investigations is fun because when you solve a major crime or you get a confession, that's really rewarding.
Yeah.
And now what I'm doing is kind of overseeing everything, which is really fun too. I get to be, out in the community and talk to people and really have a good understanding of what our community and our citizens expect from us. I get to, work with the mayor's office and city hall a lot now too, which is really fun. But yeah, it's it's completely different. I'm not doing as much actual police work as I have in the past. It's kind of, like I said, more administrative and just seeing everything.
Would you say you enjoy more like the out in the field work or like the administrative side?
So, yeah, great question. Both are awesome in their own way. So being out in the field and responding to calls for service and arresting bad guys, and that's fun stuff. That's the exciting stuff. I think that's kind of why a lot of us get into police work, besides just simply wanting to help everybody and help people with their needs and when they're having bad days. So that's kind of the exciting, fun stuff. What I do now is fun and rewarding in its own way. It's nice to be able to purchase a piece of equipment or technology for our officers that betters the police department, or promote people, hiring people. Those are fun and rewarding things of being the police chief. So that's it's a good question because they're both fun and exciting in their own ways. So yeah, great question.
Yeah. How do you handle stressful situations, especially as the chief of police?
Yeah, it's another good question. So what I really try to do is revert back to my training and education. I focus on making decisions that are in the best interest for the police department, no matter the popularity of it or what. But we take into consideration, obviously, how decisions we make are going to affect the citizens in the community that we police for. I rely on my administration a lot. We all have a different background with what we've done. So relying on them and their specialties and their strengths, making situational decisions and really having game planning for, you know, all possible outcomes. But
Yeah.
so just relying really on my training, my education, and our team. Leadership's a team sport, and we have a great team here. So it's really takes the stress off me. We have a great administration. We have great officers that work here. I'm sitting in a position where I don't have a lot of stress because our officers do such a great job, and they make good decisions, and this is a great police department to work for.
Yeah. So you've talked about this a little bit, but what's your favorite part of the job?
Yeah, so if you ask me that in each position I've been in, I would probably have a different answer for you. For patrol, it's really, it's helping people, responding to calls, catching bad guys, that type of thing, which was fun and exciting. In investigations, it was solving major crimes, obtaining confessions, helping victims. That was the challenge and rewarding part of that position. What I'm in now, I really like, helping people, problem solving, accomplishing department tasks, embracing community policing, being out in the public and engaging with citizens that live here to build trust and help them, listen to them and solve problems if I can for the public and for our community. But we take pride in community policing here at the Valparaiso Police Department, and I really enjoy interacting with the public, getting out there, meeting new people. Hiring new officers is exciting because we were all in that position one time, and getting a phone call that you got a job in a career that you've always wanted is pretty cool. I like exciting people and seeing their reactions to offering them positions is really fun. Promotions, those are big decisions that we make here. That's obviously exciting when we have those opportunities, shuffling in department with different positions, whether it be, bike patrol, canine, school resource officers, evidence technicians, when positions open up for those, and hearing creative ideas that our officers can bring to the department is pretty cool too. It's revitalizing, gives us energy as a department. So those are the fun things I get to do now.
Yeah. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from being in law enforcement?
Yeah, that's another good question. So really for me, coming into law enforcement, I had a good idea of what I was stepping into, but until you actually do the job, you don't have a full understanding of everything. But the biggest lesson I've learned is, law enforcement officers, they encounter diverse and challenging situations that require a delicate balance to enforcing the law and showing compassion. towards individuals in different circumstances. So learning to approach each situation with empathy can lead to a more effective and respectful interaction with relationships with our community. So really policing with compassion, and empathy brings out the best in most situations. So being humble too, going to situations you may not know everything, learning on the job and being, willing to, really take time to listen and consider what's going on in someone's lives is important too. So,
Yeah. Is there any advice you have for people wanting to get into law enforcement and advice for leadership?
yeah. As a police leader, it's essential to prioritize communication, transparency, accountability within the organization. So I would say that you should always lead by example, and foster a culture of respect and empathy among the officers and the staff that work for you. I would say that you always want to invest in continuous training and education. Make sure you're developing an department to ensure that your team is equipped with, how to handle various situations and effectively and responsibly as well. So that's what I would say as far as advice goes. Rely on your team. We're all brothers and sisters here at the department. Here is a family department. So really rely on each other and always continue learning.
Is there any questions that you think I should have asked, or any questions you want to ask me, dear?
I think what you're doing is pretty cool. I think you're light years above your age, and this is cool. This is the thing I like to do. I like to get to meet people and talk to people about the police department. So as far as questions go, I think you nailed them. I mean, I think you did a nice job preparing these questions, and I look forward to meeting you further. If you ever want to come down to the police department, I'd love to give you a tour, and you can meet some of our officers. And if you have more questions in the future, I'd love to answer them for you. But continue doing what you're doing. I'm sure you're learning a lot, and it's really cool. I would continue doing what you're doing if I could give you any advice, because you're going to continue to learn and get to meet people, build relationships, which is really cool. So, congratulations to you as well.
Thank you. Thank you for being up for an interview. If you enjoyed today's episode and you want to support the podcast even more, check us out at sites.google.com/view/Gen Z on leadership. To support our podcast even more, follow us on Instagram at Gen Z on Leadership and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Gen Z on Leadership. As always, stay tuned for all new episodes. We try to post 2 to 3 a month.